Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. Today on MMA Underground, presented by Yankee and the Brit, we have a special guest for you, Matthew Camilleri. And I hope I got that right. But he's a fighter out of the UK, trained at AKA, but we'll get into that more. Welcome to the show, Matthew. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Much appreciated, both of you.
So I'll start out by saying that I've watched some of your fights, and I don't want to get into the Gibson fight just yet, but there's some stuff I got on that too. But so I see you're 4-1 as a pro, 4-0 as an amateur. And my man, when I first started to watch you fight, I was like, oh, he's a ground and pound guy. But man, your ground game is way more than ground and pound. And I just want to know what got you into MMA.
It was a little bit funny because I used to be, well, not much, but back in the days, I used to be a huge fan of WWE, and I saw Brock Lesnar transitioning, and Brock Lesnar was one of my first, and he transitioned to UFC, and I said, let me see what this is, because I love everything that has to do with fighting, especially wrestling on itself. As wrestling Olympics, I love wrestling as well in Olympics more than WWE, but and I saw how he transitions from I saw how his NCAA career was, and I said, can he make it in the UFC as well? Because that's different. I said the domination of wrestling, how much that can be effective against the jiu-jitsu guy. So I said two grappling styles, but in my opinion, I said wrestling is way more dominant than jiu-jitsu. I still think to this day, if you just combine wrestling with jiu-jitsu, would be great. So that's how I started. 1 week after I saw that fight, and I watched it in 2012, so it was a bit late. It was when he retired, but I got into it. And just 1 week before, I said, oh, I wish I can train MMA. One of my mates, actually, that I didn't know, was training MMA in my country, Malta, and introduced me to my coach, which he's from London, at Smith. He was a pro fighter. I think he was 5-3. And he fought on Desert Force, a very great promotion in Abu Dhabi and all. And he retired and he came to Malta and teach. And I said, wow, very happy. And his style was more boxing and wrestling. So it suited, I loved it. First thing I actually learned was a double leg and a single leg. So it really got me into like, oh, this is what MMA is. Perfect. I just learned my favorite techniques. And from there, I just started getting from MMA. I found the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team. I thought, of course, my country has a lot of boxing and kickboxing. That's the main. That's kind of fighting sports. That's the main thing: boxing and kickboxing. So then I said, okay, what I need to get like specific. So I said I would go to boxing, to the best boxing gym, which they were my friends as well. And everybody started knowing me from every gym. I went to a Muay Thai gym, and then I went to the wrestling team, which they competed in the Commonwealth game, and my coach is actually an Olympian. And so I said I have the best teams from my country in every discipline, so I need to learn every single one of them, at least be decent in all of them, and so at least I can get better in MMA. And then it's my job and my MMA job, my coach's job, to kind of help me combine them. And that's where I started my kind of whole process of training, and that's it.
Well, right now you're training at Next Gen, but we and you were talking, and Maddie, a couple minutes ago about how you came over to the U.S. for a while and trained with AKA. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because that was pretty cool to hear.
Oh, yeah. So it started actually from a very bad thing. To be honest, I considered it was a bit of a bad, but it cost me very great because I did the European Championships of the IBJJF. I remember the first time. And came third. Forgot about it. And then I did the second one the following year, and my jiu-jitsu wasn't that good. And I was like, why am I struggling with... I was a blue belt, and I struggled with blue belts, but I could just... In my country, the jiu-jitsu, I was training with brown belts, purple belts, and a black belt as well. I could hold my own against them, but I said, why can't I just hold myself against a blue belt? That's a little bit... It was a little bit strange for me. So I said, okay, that's it. I'm not following anymore IBJJF, which, by the way, on record, I'm gonna say straight, IBJJF, we still have to pay, which I don't understand why. Why do you need to pay 90 quid to compete in no-gi, and then you have to pay another 90 quid or 80 something for gi? So I said, why am I paying all this money so I can go there, win one match or two, and lose all the money? So there's no money. So I said, I'll go to a camp, and I started searching. I said either the New York with Henzo Gracie's, is there's Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, which Chris Weidman does, or I said, why don't I go to AKA, which is my favorite thing? And I started searching the prices, the places, and I said, you know what? My favorite fighter is Cain Velasquez. There's Daniel Cormier. There's loads of Olympic wrestlers, and wrestling is my thing. And I went to AKA, and from there started my journey. I connected with Javier Mendez, and I talked with his wife as well, because she arranges like when we call, usually she answers and all that. So I try to explain my situation, what's gonna be, and the training, and she explained everything, and I said, wow, it's gonna be nice. Went there, did the first 2 weeks there as a kind of an experience, 3 weeks, and my family said the same thing. He said, you know what, it's going to cost loads of money, which cost me a load of money. Actually, there, the cost of living is crazy there. The rent is crazy. But it was worth it, because in those 3 weeks, I learned more than I learned in being in my country, to be honest. And wrestling for MMA was the difference, in my opinion. Wrestling is good. Wrestling for MMA, when you go to MMA, wrestling kind of gets limited, which I kind of struggled with. I said, why can't I in the clinch? It's limiting, because we get knees, we get elbows in the face, so it's different. But when I went to AKA, they were actually making wrestling for MMA way more better. The cage work, I was getting better. I said, wow, in those 3 weeks, and I sparred with Sean Bunch, which he's an Olympic alternate in 2008. And he was the training partner of Henry Cejudo, which I watched some video clips they had, and I really like it. And he's one of my favorite training partners over there. Was actually Sean Bunch and Alejandro Trubo. He was in the UFC. I think he still is. Not sure, but I had them, and I think there were others. That's for sure. But hopefully, I'm not losing anybody. But Nolan Suave, he fought in the UFC as well. What else? Oh yeah. Oh my god, I forgot. Because after my first 3 weeks, then I went there for three 3 months and 2 weeks. Then again, I went there for a longer time. And in that time, Luis Pena came in from The Ultimate Fighter. He came there, and I was actually excited because I watched The Ultimate Fighter, and he was one of my main favorites in that show. I don't, maybe because of the afro, maybe, but I don't know. I liked his style. I didn't know he was a wrestler before. I thought he was a kickboxer, but then I found out he was a wrestler. And for his featherweight debut, because he made one of the featherweight debut, I was one of his main training partners in there, and learned so much sparring him than I'd say anybody else, because he was tall, longer, same weight, because I fight a featherweight. I was a small featherweight at that time, and he was a big featherweight, but I could still understand need to against a southpaw, a bigger fighter. There was a guy called Kyle Crutchmer. He's in Bellator, and he's an All-American wrestler, very good. And I kept struggling with some of the wrestling, and I said, can you show me something about why am I not getting this technique that great? I'm getting against anybody, but why am I struggling with him? And he said, well, because he's taller, so you need to use a certain technique. And he showed me. Until this day, I actually show it to all my friends and training partners in Malta and Next Generation. It's very simple, but only he kind of used it. I've never seen anybody use it that way. So when he actually showed it to me and actually showed me more tricks to it, and I applied that, I said, wow, till this day, I would actually thank him, because that was one of my main takedowns. Unfortunately, I didn't show it in Dan Gibbons' fight, because I just didn't have the opportunity to shoot for a single leg. I just shot for double leg, and he's gonna. But I would like to thank Kyle Crutchmer, Kyle Driscoll as well, Sean Bunch, and some other coaches over there boxing. They helped me in boxing. Julius and the Hector as well. They all helped me, and thanks to Javier as well for having me over there. I will come back over there, and I went to AKA Thailand as well. I will not forget Dylan Crushore. I hope I got his surname right because I always mess up his surname. He's an American that lives in Thailand, but he's a great Muay Thai fighter. He did MMA as well, but Muay Thai is so excellent for MMA. So thank you all as well, AKA Thailand, for helping me out. Marcio as well, the jiu-jitsu coach, gave me a load of confidence. Manel K was an AKA Thailand, was my main. We were training partners for the whole camp that I did there 4 months. Me and him were always together. So I would like to thank him as well for making me work more harder and develop a little bit more kind of a style, I'd say. From him, I changed a little bit my style because I couldn't figure him out in a bit, but then I kind of started to figuring him a little bit and got my confidence back. But he's such a nice guy, Manel Cape. Once you get to know him, I in the beginning, because I saw his fights only, I said, this guy that fought the American guy that got his head slashed on the ropes. I said, this guy, all right. But when we started talking, the first sparring session, and then we started talking to each other, I really made friends with him. Still to this day, we speak to each other. So good luck in your next UFC fight, Manel, and I'm happy for you that you actually won. We fought on the same day when I fought Dan Gibbons. He fought in UFC a few hours after me on the same day, and I was so happy that I won. Ran home, 2 hours drive to watch him. And I was so happy to get on the time to watch his fight and watching him knock out his opponent. I really was happy that he did it. And I'm happy that he might be a UFC flyweight in the next future. So good luck.
That's an amazing story about AKA. It would be amazing to train with the monsters over there. But as we were talking about your fights, and I'm sorry if I messed this guy's name up, but Gabriel Nicotra,
yeah.
Okay, so I was watching that fight, and that's when I told you I saw you take him down and you were beating him up, and I was like, oh, this is a ground and pound guy. And then I seen your Brazilian jiu-jitsu come out in that fight, and I was like, oh, this dude's got some skill. But with the Dan Gibson fight, I've been dying to ask you about this. What the hell made you climb up the cage? Well, you already had his back to get better position. That was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Well, it's funny because everybody said the same thing on the Dan Gibbons fight on my wall walk. The wall walk. Well, I don't know what to call it, but I would maybe call it the wall walk, kind of. I actually do it all the time in sparring, and I actually did it today in sparring as well. Kind of does the same, but instead of using one leg, I use both. Well, I kind of jump from the side. I do so much variations of it. And the first time I actually did it was my coach Paul Rimmer showed us a technique in jiu-jitsu off the mats, where you can grab a seatbelt and roll forward off the mat. And I said, well, yeah, I got the seatbelt from the cage position. Why can't I just roll forward as well by using the cage? And I started doing it in sparring, live sparring, every time. And people were saying, oh, wow, this is... I've been sparring. They were like, why? I have a footage actually of me sparring, but I will never release it because it's between me and my friends. But they said, whoa, this is Matthew special. We've seen him more than once do it. I hope we see it one day in fight. And I was like, well, we might get one day, but I might need to find a wrestler to do it. If somebody will push me against the cage, will it happen? We'll see. And then Gibbons actually happened. I actually was happy.
I had to rewind it.
What?
I had to rewind it and watch it a second time. It amazed me so much.
Oh, everybody said this. Everybody actually sent me a message after I finished the fight. My Wi-Fi was off. And when I switched my Wi-Fi, because my friend gave me the 4G in the car, my phone couldn't stop ringing, and they were like saying, everybody would kept saying the same thing. Nice fight, but can you explain to us what happened in the first round? What did you do? What was that again? Did it come out of nowhere, or did you just know how to do it, and just did you know how to do it before? Or did it just come instinctively? I said, no, 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 I do it all the time. It was like 2 months doing it just as a kind of a thing. And my training partners always said it. Wow, we actually thought, we never thought he was going to push you against the cage. But when he pushed you against the cage and you immediately grabbed the seatbelt, they said immediately, before I did it, they said, he's going to do it. He is going to do it. He's leaning. He's already in the position. So he's going to jump. And when you did it, they were like, wow. The only thing they said, my coach said, was, it was great. We actually, before training, I usually do my my neck bridging and stand on my head and do head, what do you call it? Handstands on my head and move my legs in the air. They always said, why is he doing this, to be honest? Is he showing off, or is he just, what's he doing? I always say, well, it's balance. Just, you'll never know when you get on your head. Sometimes I pass guard just leaning on my head and just jumping in the air. It's a wrestling thing, which I like to use my wrestling and the jiu-jitsu thing. We use my explosiveness, my athleticism. I said, if for any reason I'll end up on my head without my hands, what will happen then? So I need to use my body to just do that. And they're like, wow. The next day when they saw me, so I fought on Saturday, and on Monday I started training again. Full time, not dieting, by the way, but started training. And he literally said it in front of everybody. They said, whoa, now we know why he's actually getting stretching on his head every day, because he can do this thing. But hey, believe me, the team will learn doing these techniques. I'd say we will see someone else, one of my training partners will probably do that technique, because I really always like to tell him, do this, do this. I always do it against him. And he's good. He's in Cage Warriors, and I do it against him. And I said, you might one day try to do it against your opponents, because he's actually wrestling like me nowadays. I said, you will do that as well. I'm happy that I actually showed somebody my thing. So at least you all guys can benefit from it.
Well, and I'm sure Maddie's got some stuff for you. So before I let him jump in, my only thing was, and I don't know if Gibson is a known fighter in the UK or what, but those announcers love that dude. They were talking so good about him, and every time they tried to talk against you, you shut them up by just like you controlled the fight from the beginning. And I was so impressed with that fight. My last question, though, before I know I'll let Maddie's got some stuff for you, is what's your ultimate goal? Is it like the UFC? Is it one? Is it Bellator? Something like that? Is that your ultimate goal?
Yeah, well, my goal was this, is that I came for UK to fight someone. Well, I was scheduled to fight Jordan Barton. I lost, unfortunately, and I will get that fight back, hopefully. I want that fight, that's for sure. I know I can win, and
you were doing well in that fight too.
Yeah, but there was something before the fight that happened. I will not say it, but it affected me in the fight. But credit to him. But I won that fight. My objective is to go in Cage Warriors, get the fight in Cage Warriors, get the featherweight belt, get in UFC, and just get over there. One, I like watching One all the time. Actually, I'm a huge fan of One. I watch loads of fighters actually. And I'm happy because I saw Gary Tonin was there, and Buchecha, and I was there. Loads of fighters, DJ and all. So I said, well, it's good. I like One FC. I wouldn't mind if One FC would get me on them, but my ultimate goal at the end of the day is UFC. But I will never say no to One FC. Those two companies for me, promotions, are the best in the world. I would love to go in one of them. That's my ultimate goal. Not only get the belt. Of course, I know it's too far, but my ultimate goal is not about getting the belt and it's over. No, it's getting the belt and just being the best in the world. That's all it is. Not champ. I don't care about the champ. My honest opinion. I don't think I can make both weights any weights above and low. I'm too small for lightweight, and I think nowadays I'm too big for bantamweight. So I don't know if I'll be able to do any weights. But that's not my ultimate goal. It will never be my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to stay in my weight division, dominate my weight division, make everybody know that if you fight me, it's gonna happen the same thing, same as the way I try to emulate Khabib's way. I'll never talk about anybody bad. I don't mind. I think this is about sport. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate my opponents.
Yeah.
I'm just here to take over my division, and you know, make them respect me by beating them, and they will know not when they see me, when they feel me. I think Dan Gibbons didn't think I was that way. I think Dan Gibbons didn't think I was a good wrestler, to be honest. When somebody wrestles me, that's what I think it is. That people don't understand when you get in there what it feels like. You might see me and say, "Oh, it's nothing special," and I see myself as well, and I say it's nothing special until you get in there and feel what it means to wrestle with me. That's what I think it is. And my striking is getting better. My last fight with Dan Gibbons, I think I showed a little bit of a glimpse of my striking. So I will always keep improving my striking, my wrestling too, and my jiu-jitsu. Guys haven't seen even half of my wrestling, what I can do. I wish people can push me more to the limit to see my wrestling, how can actually great it can be, both in the clinch and out of the clinch as legs goes. And my jiu-jitsu can be so flashy, but I just kept it safe. I think this fight was so much for me. It meant for so much for me, I think. So
yeah, I think kind of talking about your ultimate goal is a good place where I want to go next with this. So obviously, so for our American audience might not know where Malta is, but Malta is like a stunning island in the middle of the Mediterranean. There's a lot of British and Maltese crossover. A lot of British people go on holiday to Malta all of the time. And I was kind of thinking, I heard you were from Malta, and also now the fact that you live in the northwest of England where it rains all the time. Like,
yeah.
what is your motivation to get off that sunny island, to go to these places, to go fight people and stuff like that? Like, what motivates you to get out there and fight and keep going, you know?
Well, yeah, that's the main difference from Malta to UK. That's it. I think the the whole thing. This in my country is so hot. Here it's raining. It's more rainy, more cloudy, and all that. But the thing I might say is that I'm gonna say straight over here. I'm not gonna just be shy and everything. I miss my friends. I miss my family. My family is here for 3 days. They just arrived 2 days. Sorry, for 4 days. They just arrived 2 days ago. I was with them eating, and tomorrow they're gonna leave.
Yeah.
So I've seen them last January 4th. Now I've seen them again. I haven't seen my friends since then. The motivation was um, I watched. I have a dream to become the best fighter in the world, or the best of me, I can say, the best fighter I can be. And being in Malta is not going to happen. There's no opportunities. There's no sports. There's no MMA. There's no MMA coaches. Let's put it this way. There's no MMA coaches. There's good coaches in boxing, wrestling, all split apart. But there's no just one. There was one, and Ed Smith. But then he had to leave. And unfortunately, if he stayed, I'd say I would have still been there with him because he was not only my coach, he was a very personal friend of mine. We developed a really great connection. He was almost like my second father, because we had a great connection. But my motivation is I will sacrifice everything. I think I'm still to this day sacrificing everything, being alone in a country, different, of course. Got new friends, of course, but my best friends are back home. So we always contact each other, say what we did every day. He's my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training partner. He was my MMA training partner. We always talk. How was training? What did you do? He always asked me for like tips and everything. But he always motivates me to stay to like my dreams. Sometimes I might get maybe tired or something, and I'll be like, oh, I wish you guys were here, to motivate me and laugh and maybe go out together because I don't go out too much. but that's the motivation that got me here. I wanted to go somewhere to get great fighters like Paddy
Yeah.
Pimblett and being my training partner. As some people were in UFC, are in UFC now, and have the best potential to bring the best out of me. I don't like people that are less better than me, and I don't mind training with them, but I don't want to train on a regular basis. I want to train on a regular basis with people that are better than me, so I can get better. And then maybe when I go to Malta, every time I went to Malta, I mean once. I went once since I was in the UK here in December. I did a seminar and everybody learned from it and everybody liked it. And they actually said, when am I coming back? Even after the fight, they said, when am I coming back? I said, I don't know.
Yeah, you could be that. You could be that Maltese coach in Malta for the next generation of Maltese fighters, man. Like you genuinely could be if that's why you wanted to take this. And you kind of sound like you're a guy who likes to travel a lot of the time. Like me and Jay met because I do like a travel podcasty thing on the side of this as well. And you were talking about the Thai, like the place that you went to in Thailand when you were finding that. Would you say like travel's like a big motivator for you to do this kind of fighting stuff as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not only finding people that are good at in my opinion, good at something. They're very good at it. For me, it's just nice to train with them and see what they're why they're good at that, and how can I steal their good things, like become better. But that's why I think that's why, in my opinion, Maltese athletes in general. I'm not talking about fighters. We're talking about athletes. We're talking about footballers. We're talking about rugby. No, rugby, they do it. They actually go out away from the country and they train as a team, though. They get the team as a national team and they send them out for training camps, which is okay. But for example, boxers, they wouldn't, because they need their own money. Someone like me. And who would do it? There's not much people that would just say, listen, we have a regular job. Like I had back home, I had a regular job. I had an office job, which on record, I hated it, and I still hate it till this day. And I would never go back over there, not even dead. If they drag me dead, I'll just wake up and I'll say, get me out of here. Honestly, it's so boring. But it was a good income. And athletes are afraid of that. So I took a risk. I took a huge risk because I said, I'm not going to get paid that much, but I'm still living my dream. So can I make it? And now I made it. I became a personal coach in a strength and conditioning gym. I train wrestling with the next generation as well, with the jiu-jitsu guys in MMA. So I kind of have everything in my life to be suitable. Plus, I don't party or anything. I don't try to buy expensive stuff. I know that's thanks to my mom and dad. I'd say how I was raised. I really was raised to mind my own money and be careful with it. And I think that's what made me. But yeah, Maltese people said to me, listen, when it's over, would you be able to come here and be the next kind of big person that will lead MMA into our country? And I said, absolutely. If I retire or anything happens, I would do it. But then I said in the same thing, listen, I would do it, but I wouldn't do it for free. I'll do it for a price, because there's nobody that did it in my country. Nobody came close to what I actually did. Okay, I didn't do that much, but still, they didn't even come close to MMA professional fighting. The only thing that they did is professional boxing, which is good, and professional kickboxing, but never did MMA grow. I tried to make Malta try to put Malta on the map, but it's very difficult because I'm a Maltese, which I'm not training in Malta. I've never, in my professional career, I never kind of specifically trained in Malta for any fight. I always had AKA behind me, and then AKA Thailand and next generation behind me. So you can say, yeah, my blood is Maltese. I was raised in Malta, but training wise, it's with Americans and British now. So I would say to all Maltese fighters to want to be better in anything, I'd say right now you have to MMA, specifically MMA we're talking about, you need to get out of Malta and go to somewhere where you feel comfortable. England is one of the best places to go. America is good. America is the best, but remember, America, you can't work, you can't spend that much time as well. You have a certain amount of time you can spend there. And how much can you afford with no income? We're talking about $1,000 just for renting a place. So you have $1,000 of rent. Then you have the food. Training is not that expensive, but the rent is the killer. Like you get $1,000 out of your paycheck. With Malta, I think Malta used to get 1,100 euros. So it's about $1,500 in American. So I said, okay, so 1,000 out, and the food is gonna get more. Without money coming in, you won't survive. But in UK, you can actually find the work, so you can maintain yourself a little bit. So that's the only option.
And in the UK, as a former territory under the United Kingdom, so like, is Malta part of the Commonwealth?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the Commonwealth. That means that you can live in the UK for as long as you want. Like I think.
Yes,
obviously, things are changing in the UK all the time.
It was easier. It was easier actually, but then when Brexit hit, I came before Brexit, so I was lucky.
So you get that permanent settler status.
Yeah, so I started making, so because I came before and they had the records, I did the papers, and now I have 5 years in here.
Yeah.
And after 5 years, I can just renew it, which is easy because Malta and UK have kind of a deal, so they're friendly with each other. So it's very easy.
It used to be like Malta's where we send like our military ships in the Mediterranean. They're all in Malta.
Yeah, and especially, for example, there were loads of exchanges of students, for example, UK students that used to come a lot in Malta, and we used to send as well people with like cancer and everything. We would literally send them to the UK because they can actually get cured in the UK specifically. So we had loads of deals. We still have loads of deals. COVID hit, so now the thing is about you need to fill in loads of papers. You need to do loads of things to get here. That's the only bother with COVID, but I think it's all around the world. But I think that's the only thing, the issue now. But I think Maltese will never have any problems coming to the UK and staying here and living here and maybe get a job. They just need to get the paperwork done.
And then the UK is obviously a good place for fighters to come. I mean, I'm sure Jay wants to ask you about the UK fighting scene a bit more. She's a bit more into that side of it. But obviously, boxing's huge in the UK. Liverpool is a huge place for fighters to come out. So a great place for you guys to train. I'm sure Jay wants to ask a few more questions.
Yeah, I only got really...
1 second. Just 1 second. I'll open the door. Just hold on a second. Oh, my gosh. Oh, sorry. Excuse me, lads.
Oh, no problem. It's kind of a two-part question, but my last question for you is, what do you have an upcoming fight already scheduled, or what are you looking at in the future? And like, is the UK, I think it is, but do you believe the UK MMA scene is getting big enough now where more and more guys are going to be seen by other promotions like Bellator and the UFC, and things like that?
Yeah, I actually do think so. UK is getting better. So scheduled yet? No. The shows are all full. I don't know if Cage Warriors would sign me yet. But I think the earliest I can fight is maybe late October, November. There's a show in November which is not fully booked yet. So I think on the same show.
Well,
so hopefully November, if Cage Warriors would tell me before, they'll be in 6 weeks or 7 weeks. So
well, if you do, or when you find out your next fight, message me on Facebook because we'll help promote your next fight also.
Of course.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And for the UK of the scene, like the scene of the UK, I'd say absolutely. I mean, UK now is getting way more popularity nowadays. There's Paddy, the Paddy. He's been known for a long time, way before. I think. Well, he was the Cage Warriors champion, lightweight and featherweight, and the last fight he fought, he didn't fight for the title, and there was the featherweight and lightweight title on the line, and he was the co-main event, but it felt like he was the main event of the show. So, and they signed him, and now they're all talking about him. So I think more fighters are coming on from Cage Warriors. They're going to the UFC now. So now they're talking about, oh wow, these Cage Warriors fighters, they're all coming from UK. They're all going for the UFC now. And some of them are going to Bellator as well. I think Bellator is a little bit more in Europe, kind of, but the UFC is getting more British fighters. And hey, it would be great for me to be in the UFC, the first ever / Maltese fighter to go there. Like they say, oh, this is the guy of a new national. Where's he from? Is he from the UK? We're like, yeah, I'm not, but I'm Maltese originally. So yeah, you need to get my emblem in there. You can't put an English emblem there. Maltese will actually.
I wouldn't, mate.
Oh, Maltese will slaughter me for it, actually.
Well, Matthew, we really want to thank you for giving us your time. You're more than welcome back on the show anytime. So if you have anything coming up, you guys, I will drop his sponsors down below in the description. You can check out all that stuff. And thank you again so much. And I can't wait to see where you go from here, because you climbing up that cage from just to advance. You already had back. Just to advance it was so epic. Thank you again so much.
Thank you so much, man. Hey, hopefully I'll give you another special move, maybe next fight.
He's got them
Sounds
prepped
good.
and ready to go.
All
right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And just remember, everybody, we had that Facebook issue. So now there's 2 pages. Go check out the new Yankee and the Brick. The
one with the most likes is the one that... Go on the one with the most likes. That's the place to be.
Yeah, that's the one we're looking for. All right, guys. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.
Yeah, mate.